My nurse walked in and said, "Are you ready to pull the plug now?" I stared at her confused because my mom was just sleeping. She had dementia and had been in the hospital for 2 weeks after a bad fall, but she wasn't on life support or anything. Her monitors showed steady heartbeats and her breathing was normal. She just needed time to heal and deal with the infection from her surgery. Absolutely not. What are you talking about? I was told my mom was going to recover. I stood up, still holding my mom's frail hand. The nurse looked at her clipboard and frowned. "Doctor, Odom said the chances of her recovering are slim, but it's definitely possible. We're proceeding with the family's wishes." That's exactly what he told me. Recovery is possible. So why would we pull any plug? She's not even on life support. My voice was getting louder and my mom stirred a little in her sleep. The nurse flipped through her papers, looking more confused. "We got the signatures we needed to greenlight removing feeding tubes and stopping all treatment. It's all been approved by the primary decision maker." My chest felt tight. "I need to see those forms right now. I'm her son. I have power of attorney. I'm the one who's supposed to decide her medical care." She hugged the clipboard to her chest and took a step back. "I can't show you the forms since it's confidential. You're not listed as the primary on her current medical charts." "What do you mean I'm not the primary? Who is?" But even as I asked, I had this sinking feeling in my stomach. "Austin Mercer is listed as her husband and primary medical decision maker." She said it matter-of-factly, like she hadn't just dropped a bomb on my entire world. My mom and dad had been divorced for 8 years. She caught him cheating with his secretary, which was such a cliche it would have been funny if it hadn't destroyed her. She got the house in the divorce and he got his freedom to marry the secretary. They hadn't spoken in years except through lawyers. I left the hospital and drove straight to my father's condo across town. He answered the door in his robe at 2 in the afternoon, smelling like whiskey. His new wife was nowhere to be seen, which wasn't surprising since I'd heard they were having problems. "We need to talk about Mom," I said, pushing past him into his living room. He shrugged and poured himself another drink. "What about her? I heard she's not doing well. You made yourself her primary medical decision maker. You're trying to pull the plug on her." I was trying to stay calm, but my hands were shaking with rage. He took a long sip of his whiskey and smiled this awful smile. "Your mother had a moment of clarity last week, thought we were still married, kept asking where I'd been and why I hadn't visited. The nurses felt bad and called me. So you used her dementia to make yourself her medical proxy?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "She signed the papers willingly, even had 2 nurses witness it. All perfectly legal." He walked over to his desk and pulled out a folder. "See, she was quite happy to see her loving husband." I looked at the papers and felt sick. There was my mom's shaky signature on forms, making him her primary decision maker, and more importantly, making him the beneficiary of her estate if she died. The house she'd won in the divorce would go right back to him. "You're trying to kill her for the house." The words came out flat because I was beyond anger at this point. He shrugged again. "That house is worth $500,000 now. The neighborhood really improved. I could use the money since Elle left me last month. Your mother won't know the difference anyway." I recorded the rest of our conversation on my phone without him knowing. Him admitting he'd waited until she was confused to get her signature. Him laughing about how the nurses thought he was such a devoted ex-husband visiting his sick former wife. Him explaining exactly how he planned to stop her treatment and let her die. I hired a lawyer that same day. We filed an emergency injunction to stop any medical decisions and started the process of proving my father had committed elder abuse and fraud. The recording helped, but it still took 3 months of court battles. During that time, I stayed by my mom's side every single day, making sure no one touched her feeding tube or stopped her medications. My father fought hard, but the judge saw through him. The power of attorney was thrown out and my father was charged with attempted fraud and elder abuse. I was reinstated as my mom's primary decision maker and the beneficiary of her estate. Unfortunately, my mom did pass away 2 months later, but she died peacefully without my father getting a single penny of what she'd worked so hard to keep in the divorce.